You need leverage, so that way, for the same amount of time, you can get more of whatever you're trying to achieve. There's a lot of ways that people try to get access to leverage in their lives, although they don't really realize what they're doing usually. For example, you can go learn skills, so that way you can earn more money per hour. That's a form of leverage. Another form is debt. People will go and acquire a house without saving the whole amount for a house because that's impossible because we print tons of money everywhere the world over. So good luck fucking affording anything without debt. Congratulations. That's a form of leverage. You own the house. It's worth $1 million, even though it's 300 square feet and you only have to put down $200,000. Yay, congratulations. And perhaps the least fun but most relevant to World of Warcraft form of leverage, besides skill, I guess, is labor, other people's time. Ooh, so how is this actually a form of leverage? Well, for example, there are tasks that you can't complete without other people. So you can't just spend 40 times longer on a 40-man raid and then one-man it. And in maybe a real-world example could be, maybe you could move your sofa out of your apartment and it would take you 6 hours. But if you had a friend, the two of you together could do it in 25 minutes. So, weird, to double the people, but it's like 10 times faster. That's crazy. All these are examples of leverage. You need to try to get access to it in the game. For example, I play a warrior because when I played on a private server, I made this fucking terrible mistake of playing a rogue on a TBC private server. Ooh. And this caused me so many woes. The first one was I wasn't able to actually make friends and get in a guild the conventional way because nobody wants a fucking rogue in their raid group. And so I had to make my own guilds, that way I could start raiding, which probably sounds unbelievable, but the private server only had probably 2,000 active players on each faction. So I actually could not get into a raid group. I was unemployed. I tried really, really hard. And then I made a guild. And then I realized other problems with playing a rogue. I all of a sudden, there was the only thing I could do in raid that was at all relevant was there's some times where I could kick things. Okay, that's cool. So I don't need to assign other people to kick stuff. But what if we're short on healers? Oh God, I need to find out how to get a healer. Oh, how am I gonna do this? Oh man, the healers, they're not hitting the buzz right. They're not using decurs. And then that means I have to go back to the labor problem and figure out how to organize people and recruit them over and over and over again. Oh no, fuck this. I got the perfect plan. I'm gonna play a resto druid. Stupid. People say resto druids are good because they got hots in TBC. Resto druids fucking suck in TBC PvE. But yeah, so I'm playing a resto druid, and then that's okay. But sometimes there's other weird problems, like, oh man, like I can't interrupt anymore. That doesn't usually matter, but like that kind of sucks. And like, I'm worried we're gonna miss this DPS check. Now I'm gonna have to like think really hard about how am I gonna recruit better players. I'm like, man, what could I do? You know what? Resto Shaman. Ooh, now I got heroism. I do like as much damage contribution as a rep paladin by just hitting one button and then making the real DPS classes do 30% more damage for like a minute. Okay, cool. Ooh, also I can kick also. That's nice. Or I could like kite stuff sometimes. There's not a whole lot of fights where you want to kite stuff, but like on Vash, I could be a Resto Shaman. I could like kite an elemental and do not an elemental, a Strider and do some healing. Fantastic. And then eventually I ran into issues with tanks. Ooh, man, it's really hard to find tanks that know how the game works. And there's also this problem where everybody thinks they know how the game works. So it takes a whole bunch of skill to actually find somebody that will tell you, I understand this, and then they truly do understand it. And one day I had a tank that was not able to make it to raid, and then I got a feral set on my resto druid, and I played that instead. And then it was like a bolt of lightning fucking hit me with how much it changed my mind. I was like, this saves me so much fucking time. If I just play the bear tank, there's all these problems I don't have to worry about anymore. Now I can focus on other shit. Ooh, things that I enjoy more. And so it's funny how the meta of the game actually pushed me into playing a warrior, because I didn't have any real bias towards what I was going to play. Actually, warrior is the only class that I never played as a child. This is the only fucking class I never played at all as a kid. I got like 1800 or 2K in arena on every class except warrior, and I just thought, warrior's a class for fucking stupid people, okay, bro? Like, why would I want to be a warrior? They had those in the real world. I'm gonna fucking be a magician. So I just want this because I'm a fucking meta slave, and the game controls my mind. And in some ways, you should probably let it do that to you too. Because, for example, if you're playing WoW and you want to make really good friends, and what would be an example maybe of really good friends in WoW? One day, you will probably quit this game unless you're severely mentally ill, and you will maybe, if you're very lucky, have a couple friends from the game that you stay in touch with for a very, very long time afterwards or forever. And if you pulled that off, that is absolutely fantastic. So those are great friends in WoW. But the ones that you have now, and then when you quit the game, they're gone. Like, I don't care about those people. That's not what I'm fucking after. I think that's not what most people are after. I mean, like, why should you really be after just these really transient experiences when you can have things that last forever? That's just so much better in my opinion. And if you want to get access to that, you need to be around people who take you seriously. And what's weird about that is, in my opinion, usually that means they have to take the game seriously. When I made that guild on the TBC server and I switched between 3 or 4 classes and I swapped my specs and I recruited all these people and I showed them how the raids worked, and I had to learn how they worked too because I didn't know back then. And we spent so much time together, and we hung out in Discord all the time too. I thought that I was really building something. I was building a sandcastle. I didn't know why. I took the game seriously, and I created things, experiences for other people that they found valuable enough to stick around and raid with me, and to hang out in Discord with people that I introduced them to. But they didn't take the game all that serious, and it reflected in the classes that they picked, and how they enchanted and gemmed their gear, and how they pressed the buttons. And I saw it wrong. I thought that, they can suck at the game and we can be great friends. And that's true. It can be true. But I don't think it normally is. When Fresh was coming out in 2019, I had a very low rate of people continuing with the guild. And when we stopped raiding on the TBC server before Fresh launched, and a ton of people just like set down their basically Discord accounts forever and just never showed up again, and weren't really interested in hanging out with anybody. And I was really surprised by this, and I kind of thought at the time, I wasn't sure though, but I had this suspicion that it had something to do with us not being serious about the game. And so I set out to make basically a new guild, almost from the ground up. There was like 5 or 6 of us. And I did it. It took a lot of time. And the second round, I was thinking, well, I'll find people who take their class seriously. So they would have the right gems and enchants. If it was TBC, it's classics. They didn't have any gems. And they do the rotation right. And they wear like pretty, like much the right gear, the meta stuff for whatever they're doing. And then surely this will work. And then what I found was that didn't really work either. I had things such as bad raid comp, dumb classes like rep paladins and shit, resto druids, warlocks, like that were really serious about parsing and not about getting their fucking goddamn curses up. Mages that pretended they were serious about parsing even though none of them ever really coordinated with each other the right way. All sorts of goofy ass shit. But it worked good. I made a lot of really good friends in 2019. Like there's like 10 or 15 people that I still talk to on a weekly basis from 5-6 years ago that I haven't raided with in fucking years, and they're still my friends. But it wasn't everybody. It wasn't most of the people. It was the very, very small, like 5% of the people that I brought through my raid team, Like, and I wanted more. And I had the idea like, no. So this time, instead of getting people who are just unserious about everything, I got people who were serious about doing something very tiny. They weren't necessarily very serious about the game. They were serious about Rep Paladin. They were serious about Warlock parsing. They weren't really serious about like the game at large. And then it's I took a break and I come back and it's Wrath. I'm like, all right, this time I'm gonna do it right. I'm gonna fucking make the comp optimal too. So I had great comp and we had really high parses, like a 99.5 average or something, across like the guild. It's like we're really fucking putting in work and getting a result. And it's easy. It's easier than ever before. I couldn't believe it. And people have such positive attitudes and there's so few problems. And from my Wrath guild, half the people I raided with, I'm still friends with. Ooh. And then Fresh comes out, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to take this one step further. There's an issue with parsing. Not to hand this to the normies who hate taking the game seriously, but parsing is, there's less things that matter. I'd also say there's more annoying things that matter, but there's like less things that matter than speedrunning. It's like a tinier slice of the game, in my opinion. Like, we're not just going to be serious about parsing. Instead, fuck parsing. I don't give a shit about that. We're going to be serious about speedrunning and about the way the classes all relate to each other to make the time get smaller and smaller. And now it's the social stuff is all way better too. And now my guild's in a position where, for example, I don't even have to recruit people if I don't want to. The guildies like the situation so much that they will find people that are good for the guild. And they're worried about introducing people who would endanger their reputation in the guild. So it's not just they're finding people. They're finding the right people, and they're being discerning. And that's awesome. Now my time is decoupled from doing anything I dislike in the game. I only do things I like in the game now. It's except fucking AV shoot me in the head, bro. What the fuck, Blizzard? But other than AV, it's all great. And all the other times I tried to make the environment I wanted, I would really put in the work and think hard about solving problems and creating solutions. But just the core idea was wrong. It was just, I was off on the wrong foot immediately, and I didn't realize it. And it's so easy to do this with so many things. Like, for example, if you have aspirations to be rich one day, that's important to you, and you go to college to be a teacher, it'll never happen. The economy, society is not built in a way where there are financial rewards like that available to teachers. It doesn't matter how good you are. Like, you could be able to see into the fucking future and find out the best way to change the lives of children and create billions of dollars in wealth for society by educating people well. And you won't be able to capture any of it. You're just fucked. And in the same way, you could start saving money. And maybe you're really young, you're like 16. And you live with your parents. And you're like, I want to drop out of high school. And this is going to sound crazy, but this is a thing you could do. You'd be like 16, you're in high school. Mom, Dad, I'm going to drop out of high school. They're probably going to yell at you, but I mean, you can just like push the matter. You're not going to high school. Get a job. Oh, you got to pay rent if you want to live around here. Pay rent to your parents, and pay them for living expenses. Maybe it's half your money. You get to save the other half. And you could do that for like 6 years. You're 24 years old. You have no skills. You've been saving half your money for like 6 years working at McDonald's. You probably have like $60,000, $70,000 saved, What would that mean now? Ooh, average stock market returns, after inflation, 6-7%. So now you make $400 or $500 a month adjusted for inflation for the rest of eternity, totally decoupled from anything you do in the real world. So you're 24, you've done really weird things. And by really weird things, I mean, most people say you've done nothing with your life. And you're like, for your age, you're like top 1% wealthy, like hyper successful. Everyone around you thinks you're a fucking clown, but like you're actually killing it. You're like on top of the world, but you seem like a punk because you're a cashier. And you could, for example, go on living your life like that and just keep on working the cashier job and saving money and paying mom and dad rent. And you don't even need to be a go-getter and get promoted. And by the time you're 30, you'll almost for sure have like over 100 fucking grand. I mean, you'd be 14 years of saving $10,000 a year. And over the last half of that 14-year period, the first 7 years of income would have doubled. So you wouldn't have $140,000 saved. You'd actually be 30 years old and you'd have like $210,000 saved adjusted for inflation. And so now you're making almost minimum wage income decoupled from your time through your stocks, and all you ever did was show up to work and be a cashier. So it's like, it's strange to think, it's like, okay, if you ask somebody like, There's a kid. They're like, I want to get rich. Like, what should I do? And somebody be like, go to college. And they're like, all right, what should I do? They'd be like, something you really like. Wrong fucking answer, buddy. Like, you're better off working at McDonald's. You'll be way more likely to find the financial success, which is goofy stuff. It's really strange. Just an example of you're just fucked because you're in the wrong position right from the start. I'm not saying that like college is totally pointless. I mean, like I went and got you can go and get a computer science degree at any state school in the U.S. and fucking instead of like being the cashier and making $10-15 an hour, you can get a shitty programming job and make $30 an hour, and you can start working when you're 22, and then you could have a lot more than $200,000 saved by the time you're 30. If that's like really what you're after is like fucking making money. And in the same respects, you could, instead of doing any of these things that involve for working other people, you could do something like make a landscaping company, mow the lawns of your neighbors. Maybe make you'd probably make this more money than being a cashier, but let's say you made less. You just figure out, okay, I'm gonna slowly acquire these contracts. That's why you're gonna make less money than being a cashier if you're mowing people's lawns, because you're gonna fucking suck ass at getting people to pay you. But over time, you'd figure out you get all these people to pay you, and then maybe while you're actually mowing the grass, you're making like $40 an hour. Of course, when you're doing the work of the sales, after you average that in, maybe you're making 10, but perhaps one day you're like 30 years old and you got $10,000 a month worth of grass to cut, and you can hire somebody and pay them $3,000 a month. Now you're making like $7,000 a month cash flow, and you just need to put in the time to manage this guy. And now it's like you've smoked the person who did conventional work from the age of 16, and you've also smoked even people who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in college or from like college educated fields. It's like there's some FANG engineer making $195,000. They're 22 years old, but they have to like work for all that money. You're 30, and like you wake up and check some emails in the morning and like call two guys, and then you make $7,000 that month. Like you're actually beating the pants off that guy on income per hour. But when people are faced with how they're going to make decisions in their lives, whether it's the game or the real world, they're trained to not think for themselves and not think critically. Just at all times. They're terrified of doing something that they came up with on their own and having any feelings like they're being judged as a failure. Here's one that I think people could see in BWL a lot. You don't need a mage to tank the techies. Back in 2019, I used to tank the techies as a warrior a lot, and this last raid, I just decided to tank the techies, and it's fine. It's really easy. You just need a little threat on them, so that way they don't hit the healers. If no one else is hitting them, you need to just tickle each of the techies, and then they're gonna hit you. But if you were in a pug and nobody said they wanted to be the mage tank, and you suggested that to a raid leader, they'd probably tell you no. Why? Well, because if they do something that's not considered conventional by other people in the game and it doesn't work, then they're a very bad raid leader. But if instead they just force somebody to doing something they don't want to do and it doesn't work, then it's that person's fault. Then you tried your hardest. I'll give you a pat on the head, Mr. Raid Leader. I mean, you couldn't kill the fucking tech packs without killing your whole raid, but at least you did what other people told you to do. And that's just how shit is everywhere, all the fucking time, and it drives me crazy. And you see it with the kinds of shit that's big on YouTube. Like, for example, prescriptions. I don't mean prescription drugs. I mean somebody trying to give you a step-by-step guide on how to pull things off. That shit is stupid. It's for the unserious. Something that I think is really funny is if you were to message most of the highest performing players in my guild and ask them for advice, you're like, how do you do blah, blah, blah? They'd be like, I don't know. I feel like I just stay in combat and hit my buttons. And they wouldn't be fucking with you. They'd be like, there's nothing what do you want me to do? There's nothing I could say to you that's going to fucking change things. There's knowledge. There's problems where like you get knowledge and it gives you leverage, like if If you have a lot of problems with a certain part of a conventional raid strategy, and so you swap the strategy up to just eliminate a certain type of problem, even if it generates a different one, like that could be a real solution. And maybe somebody could tell you that, and they could think that that's going to work well for you, and it could. But with most things, you gotta really think for yourself about what your goals are and try to orient your whole life around it. Like with this guild I wanted to make a group where the people that I'm playing with today, that any of them who quit playing WoW, if I hit them up in Discord years later and just ask them, like, if they, like, I see them playing some other game, like maybe 5 years from now everyone hates WoW, we're playing 2015 old school RuneScape, and I see that it says that they have Rune light up, and I message them, that they're gonna like respond to me and we're gonna like be friends and able to talk, or we'll have been in contact the whole time. Like, that's what I want, like super 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 long-term relationships. And I thought really hard about it, like, how am I going to do this? Like, what do I got to do? And one of the things I thought was that if I need to show people that I take them really seriously, and then if they want to take me seriously, it could make sense for them to reciprocate. And so everybody who joins my guild, I talk to them for as long as they want to talk, the first time I meet them. And it probably goes for 4 hours on average, which to most people watching this video probably sounds like I'm making shit up, but you could fucking whisper my guildies and they'll laugh about it. It's true. And so I went and I did that, and I think it made a big difference, and I have created the environment I want to be in. Or with my professional life, I was thinking, I don't want people to have control over my time. And I was also thinking, and I'm not creative enough or have thick enough skin to make a business. So I have to work for somebody else because I'm a pussy. And so I got an engineering degree, which also is great. Engineering degrees are great for you if you're a pussy. You don't have to talk to people as much. You still got to talk to people. And then I was like, how am I going to make as much money as possible? And then I saved money. I was able to buy back my freedom in that way. And it took years. It was very focused, and I had to achieve a lot of leverage to be able to pull that off without spending my whole fucking life doing it. And there's lots of opportunities in this for the game too. Like, if you want to get into a super good guild and get into super good runs, like, yeah, you could try to network and become really great friends of people in great guilds, and that'd probably be very hard. Or you could just get really good. You could simply get really good. And then you could get into any guild you want in the world. It wouldn't be that hard for somebody who had never played the game before, but was like, I want to be in the fastest raid group in the world. Like, they're like, yeah, my friend plays WoW. I used to, like, I'm making up a fake person, but pretend you're like some fucking pro League of Legends player, and you're like, I just want to play WoW now. It wouldn't be that hard for you to just figure out how to be good enough to get into Bricked, even though they're like the best in the world. Like, to be the worst warrior on their roster, it wouldn't be that difficult if you were just committed to it. But if you went and asked other people for advice on how to pull that shit off, it would probably take you forever. You'd probably never pull it off. You just went to a bunch of other people like, oh, what should I do? And you're like, oh no, tell me exactly. Like, what do I do on this boss? What do I do on that boss? Oh, what do I wear? Oh, what's the rotation? Like, no. That's fucking, you need to go around asking other people for that shit all the time. It's not serious. It's not serious. It's goofy. I know it's everywhere. You see all over YouTube. It's how-to guides. The 11 essential drops in BWL to transform your parse. 13 ways that you can hit Bloodthirst faster. Or how to get rich in 4 minutes. But it's all bullshit. You got to figure things out for yourself. Anyways, I've been yapping for fucking ever. If you want to join a guild that's like stuffed with cool people, fucking hit me up. Please, for the love of God, don't be a fucking rep paladin. Like, please. Peace. Thanks for listening.